We're hot? Okay, fantastic, guys. We're going to rock and roll the show. Thank you, Judah. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. I will confirm pages here on the I Love CVille show. We are live on my personal Facebook page, 6,700 plus followers on there. Like and share the show. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. Conversational show. We encourage you, the viewer and listener, to join us with the discussion and help us shape the show today. I'm going to ask Judah which headline most intrigues him and why. Live on the group, J-Dubs. Excellent work, Judah. You confirm YouTube if you can, Judah. I'll confirm the 15 Facebook pages. We are live on I Love CVille Facebook as well, Judah. Excellent work. Like and share the show on a Wednesday where parents in Albemarle County, the city of Charlottesville, are breathing a sigh of relief as their children are back learning in classrooms. I know my house and my better half certainly is. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. I'm going to give you kind of a fun prop bet, hypothetical if you may, which is most likely to have success. The new Charlottesville City homeless shelter or the Cherry Avenue grocery store, both in the works and in the news cycle, which is more likely to have success? The homeless shelter on Holiday Drive or the Cherry Avenue grocery store that's talked about. Live on LinkedIn, Judah, fantastic. I'm going to ask you now, J-Dubs, which headline most intrigues you and why?
I could think of some interesting resolutions for some of these places, but I'd like to hear what our viewers think.
Very compelling commentary right there from my friend Judah Wickower.
Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution there. All right, we're going to rock and roll in T-minus 30 seconds. We're live on YouTube, J-Dubs.
I believe we are.
Search the I Love CVille network on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, and subscribe and follow our channel on a hump day on the I Love CVille network with you, the viewer and listener, kind enough to join us. If you like the show, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the follow button on any platform you're watching upon. Better yet, share the show and comment on the show. That's the only thing we ask of you. All right, Judah, we can rock and roll when you are ready, sir.
Quiet on the set.
Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille show. Absolute pleasure to connect with you guys through the flagship show on the water cooler of content and conversation here in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and in Central Virginia. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast, including absolute lunacy in Loudoun County with a school system potentially losing some federal funding. We'll talk about that on the program today. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, maybe it's a proposition bet, maybe it's just fodder for your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend. What is a more likely scenario to succeed and materialize? A Cherry Avenue Fifeville grocery store or a homeless shelter on Holiday Drive? I had that conversation this morning with a mover and shaker in the city of Charlottesville at my desk mere hours ago. I want to talk New Year's resolutions. It's that time of the year, and we may start compiling a list of New Year's resolutions. What are the resolutions, or what should be the resolutions, my friends, the viewers and listeners, for Albemarle County, the city of Charlottesville, and the University of Virginia? You may need to check LinkedIn, J-Dubs. I don't think it's an active and connected stream here. Everything else is looking good. I want to have that conversation with you, the viewer and listener, New Year's resolutions for the city of Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and the University of Virginia. Let's compile a list. We can have some fun with this. Each entity is doing some things really well. Each entity is doing some things quite poorly. Each entity is doing some things that needs to be changed immediately. Let's have that conversation on the show. We'll talk the Alderman Road, 303 Alderman Road, a much discussed home in the Tony Lewis Mount neighborhood that has now been purchased by an out-of-market buyer. Excellent reporting from Sean Tubbs on that conversation. I do want to highlight the University of Virginia men's basketball team. They beat the brakes off of Maryland Eastern Shore last night. I won't spend too much time on that contest because it was expected that Ryan Odom's ball club was going to hammer Maryland Eastern Shore, and hammer they did. This basketball team is got its work cut out for them because the Atlantic Coast Conference has got some talent. It's got some big time programs, as we know. I expect this to be a good year for the ACC, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Odom's team, a top 25 team at that, has an ACC ball game right around the corner with Virginia Tech on New Year's Eve. Before it faces the Hokies in Blacksburg, it will host Maryland, the Terrapins, on Saturday at the John Paul Jones Arena, and then the upcoming Monday, American University, the former school that Jeff Jones coached, will be at the John Paul Jones Arena, and then Virginia Tech to close out the 2025 campaign. I can't believe I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen. We are now a mere 21 days removed from the close of the 2025 calendar year, and it's been quite a year. Ups and downs for all of us, as life normally does. Judah Wickower behind the camera, if you can go to the studio camera, and we can show the viewers and listeners our set in our studio. And then after you go to the studio camera, I love to give some attention to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes is who you contact for anything hardscape related. And the upside for a custom hardscape is not just return on investment, it's return on experiences, return on quality of life, return on memories. Hardscapes, custom hardscapes at your place of business or at your home really can make the place feel special. Bluestone patios, fire pits, and those gorgeous hardscapes around your swimming pools and in your backyards. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes is who you contact. Judah Wickower, my friend, a lot I want to cover on the broadcast today. You are a valuable component to this program. And this morning, a surprise visit, Judah Wickower, from a man we have tremendous respect for. Mr. Jim Hingley visited us at the I Love CVille studio.
Yep. Amazing, amazing man, and a great part of our community. And we are incredibly lucky to have him not only as a viewer, but a friend. And
I want to say this. Gift bag in tow. Jim, your gift bag choice was absolutely spectacular. This gift bag may be regifted. What will not be regifted is this bottle of top shelf scotch. I just popped the top open. I do not know this brand.
I did not previously know this brand.
We did a little research on the brand, and this brand, Judah, you can set the stage, the who, what, when, where, why, is as top shelf gets.
Yeah, I mean, without going into the insane territory of bottled liquors, this looks to be and is by taste an amazing drink.
Single malt Scotch whiskey from Jim Hingley, as well as some truffle chocolate gifted to us here in the I Love CVille network. And what made it the most special was the handwritten note from Mr. Hingley. I sincerely mean this. Am I on a two-shot here with you?
Yeah.
Albemarle County is lucky to have this man.
No doubt.
Two-term Commonwealth attorney, a man of common sense, a man who is reasonable, a man who embodies Virginia gentleman. Jim Hingley is a Virginia gentleman. And I want to salute Mr. Hingley for just a fantastic, just has done a tremendous job in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and maintaining consistency. And I want to highlight in our market, with Chief Kachis and Colonel Sean Reeves and Commonwealth's Attorney Joe Plantania of Charlottesville, and Jim Hingley in Albemarle County, how fortunate we are locally to have our four top cops, Colonel Reeves, Chief Kachis, and Commonwealth's Attorneys Plantania and Hingley in our community,
Yeah.
being the metronome or the North Star of moral, of virtue, of value, and of consistent expectations. And I hope all four gentlemen hear that. Thank you again, Jim Hingley, for this. It is an absolutely delightful bottle of single malt. All right, a lot I want to cover on the broadcast. The lead headline, if you could put it on screen, that would mean the absolute world to me, Judah Wickower, and set the stage for the viewers and listeners what the lead headline is.
The lead headline is thanking Jim Hingley for his amazing gift of scotch and chocolate.
Which obviously we just did. So our next headline, Judah Wickower, what do you got?
Let's see. Next up is which will succeed, Cherry Avenue Grocery or the new homeless shelter?
This is a conversation starter for your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend. Had some charcuterie and a couple cocktails last night myself. The Cherry Avenue grocery store is far from reality. The expectation for a grand opening, as we discussed yesterday, is the fall of 2027, so basically 2 years from now. And Sunshine Mathon of Piedmont Housing Alliance has already highlighted that they are going to need significant subsidies from the city for the construction and the build-out of this Cherry Avenue grocery store. Interestingly, this homeless shelter on Holiday Drive is also the entity that's tasked with carrying the weight is the city of Charlottesville. I had a conversation with an extremely heavy hitter this morning in our studio at my desk. This is not Jim Hingley. He is a heavy hitter, but another gentleman who is in the commercial real estate sector. We won't name him, Judah. You saw him here this morning. You had a friendly conversation with him as well. This is a 30-40 millionaire in commercial real estate easily. And the conversation we had was this Holiday Drive shelter. The expectation was just not the $6.2 million in taxpayer allocation to purchase what was previously a building that was used by Lakeland Tours, but the upfit and retrofit from an office space into a homeless campus with beds and bedrooms going to cost probably somewhere in the neighborhood. He anticipated a $5 to $6 million as well, which would take us to around $12 million. And then he said the expectation that the city's going to be managing this moving forward, that was going to cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars moving forward for the city.
Yeah, look at how much it's going to cost for some people to clean up the downtown mall on a regular basis.
The clean team on the downtown mall out of Louisville, $1.2 million for 2 years, and all they're doing is walking up and down the mall and serving as ambassadors. So we had the conversation. It segued. Many of the topics on the show originate with conversations that I have with people in our sphere of influence or our sphere of business. The conversation this morning then transitioned to the Cherry Avenue grocery store, and he and I pontificated which would have more success, a Cherry Avenue grocery store or a homeless shelter on Holiday Drive. Very curious of your thoughts, Judah Wickower, before I offer mine. Show is yours, my friend.
Oh, man, you know I'm not an absolutes person, so I feel like this is more of
it's a conversation for a talk show.
Degrees, that's why I'm conversating. A matter of degrees where, I certainly think that the homeless shelter could have success as a shelter. I just don't know that it's going to do everything that its proponents want it to do in terms of, I think, in the first place, and in the first place is keeping the house's population off the downtown mall, not just the population, but there are entryways that are stacked with everything from suitcases to pillows to bedding, and we're certainly empathetic. I can't imagine trying to decide which of all of my possessions I would take with me and which I would leave behind if that became an issue. But the downtown mall, we've heard from Greer, Achenbach, speaking as a voice for the downtown mall businesses and what the population essentially living on the downtown mall is doing to business for them. And I don't know that the shelter is going to solve that. It may help get their possessions. Maybe they'll have a place to stow their possessions during the day and night. But I don't think a shelter is going to keep the malls clear.
Which will have more success, Cherry Avenue grocery store or a homeless shelter on Holiday Drive?
At this point in time, I think I'd say the shelter.
I'm going to agree. I think it's the shelter, and here's why. I'm not convinced the Cherry Avenue grocery store is going to even materialize. The homeless shelter has at least been paid for.
Yeah.
The city's got $6.2 million of skin in the game.
Right.
The city of Charlottesville cannot back away from this $6.2 million of skin in the game. That will make the city look like buffoons. It's pot committed at this point, a poker reference. Okay? And I understand that $6.2 million is going to be a drop in the bucket of what this actually is going to cost taxpayers. It's probably another $5 to $6 million to outfit and retrofit the homeless shelter, then hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in perpetuity, unless the city can form some kind of joint venture with some entity, nonprofit or for-profit organization that wants to run a low-barrier shelter, which is the most challenging of all shelters. Because the low-barrier shelter, you often have addicts, you have alcoholism, drug addicts, sex offenders, violent criminals.
Yep.
Potentially. I'm not saying all of them. Don't use my words against me, those that like to hate on this show. Not all of them, but the low barrier shelter, you can't argue against me, is the one that is most open from a approachability or door standpoint than any shelter out there. Okay? This Cherry Avenue grocery store continues to be a pipe dream. Have you, viewers and listeners, read the article on Charlottesville Tomorrow, CVille Tomorrow, on the challenges the grocery store on Cherry Avenue continues to face? Sunshine Mathon and Piedmont Housing Alliance, and in conjunction with the Fifeville Neighborhood Association, is going to go hat in hand to the next city council meeting and basically ask taxpayers and councilors for millions of dollars. Literally, we'll go hat in hand and ask councilors for millions of dollars for this grocery store. And I'm going to ask this question, and this question is a little tongue-in-cheek, but this question is also very much planted in reality. I want to propose it to you first, Judah. You ready for this?
Yep.
If the North Downtown Neighborhood Association, or if the Greenbrier Neighborhood Association, or if the Rugby Road Neighborhood Association, the Belmont Neighborhood Association, went hat in hand to the city of Charlottesville and said, we want millions of dollars from you and your budget so we can have a grocery store within walking distance of North Downtown, of Belmont, of Rugby Road, or our Greenbrier neighborhoods, how would the community respond?
They'd probably laugh them out of the front doorway.
Okay, and it's not an apples to apples comparison.
No, certainly not.
Okay, that's why it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek with my presentation, but it's also grounded in today's reality. I'm going to ask an extremely challenging question that may make you, Judah Wickower, and you, the viewer and listener, awkward and uncomfortable. And here's the question. Why should the city of Charlottesville subsidize a grocery store in Fifeville with taxpayer dollars and not offer the same taxpayer allocation and subsidization for neighborhood residents in Greenbrier, Belmont, North Downtown, and Rugby? Can you Counselor Judah Wickhauer, make a compelling argument for
Why
CVille
that should be done?
over North Downtown. I would love to hear this compelling argument from my very astute, intelligent, and wordsmith colleague, Judah Wickhauer.
I don't think I could provide a compelling argument for why that specific neighborhood should receive a subsidy for a grocery store where others wouldn't. I think others might argue that this is an historically underserved area, and maybe it's time to give back, but I don't know if that argument holds up under scrutiny.
Viewers and listeners, make a compelling argument for me. Make a compelling argument. Is the compelling argument the raising of Vinegar Hill?
I don't know that that's a compelling argument.
Is the compelling argument reparations?
Yeah.
Is the compelling argument food desert?
I think that's
If the
that
food
comes
desert-
closest to a compelling argument.
Okay,
But
if food
is it the job of the city to fill in a food desert?
Exactly. Is the compelling argument to be a development partner? Do we understand? And Anthony Woodard watches this program, listens to this program. I see him working out in the gym. I say it all the time. The guy is an absolute unit. Anthony Woodard is a grizzly bear in the gym. You should see this man deadlift. He can deadlift a Prius. He can deadlift, ladies and gentlemen, a Pinto. He is an absolute grizzly bear. But we are all in agreement here, okay? I want everyone, and Anthony would be in agreement with this as well. I'm probably going to see him this week. This conversation may come up, okay? You build a neighborhood grocery store, and it's built and funded by taxpayer dollars. The value proposition of that grocery store that's going to be run by a co-op that has no grocery experience. That value proposition is not just upside for CVille, but it's obviously upside for the owners of the real estate and that project, Woodard, Anthony, and his father. You agree with that, right?
Sure.
Having a grocery store there as an anchor tenant has massive upside for all the residential units that are being built around the grocery store. Okay? I want a compelling argument offered by City Council when Sunshine Mathon and the CVille Neighborhood Association goes before it and ask for millions of dollars of our taxpayer resources. You strike checks, you allocate capital to the city with your purchases, food and beverage, and your patronage of small business locally. I highlighted this week, because the real estate taxes and personal property taxes were due on Friday, that our total bill was basically $50,000 for this 6-month period of time, and we do that twice a year. Okay? So we have a vote in this as taxpayers and as locals who patronize and support city business, as real estate and rental, as real estate owners and renters. Okay? And if the argument, and I agree with you, is not one based on reparations, it's not based on the raising of Vinegar Hill, it's not based on a historically marginalized community, the best argument you're saying we can make is grocery desert. Explain to me the grocery desert argument and how it applies to Belmont, which is across the street.
There's a grocery that went out of business in Belmont.
Okay,
Should we have propped it up?
Is Belmont not a grocery or food desert as well? It's across Ridge Street from Cherry Avenue. The difference between Belmont and CVille is Ridge Street. Am I not right, viewers and listeners?
Does Belmont go all the way up to?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The difference between Belmont and CVille is Ridge Street. Is the Belmont Neighborhood Association going to go before City Council and have a developer in tow and say, we need $10 million from you, we need $5 million from you, City Council, because we want a neighborhood grocery store that we can walk to? And what can City Council do about it if they open Pandora's box for CVille? Now I'm going to catch huge heat from the viewers and listeners that are activists and love chugging the haterade when watching and listening to the show and creating the memes about Judah Wickower and yours truly on the social medias.
Any memes about me?
You don't have any memes about you?
Why would someone do something like
We
that?
need to get a meme about you, Judah. Let's get Judah Wickower on the Reddit, Charlottesville subreddit.
To be honest, I don't go looking, so I wouldn't.
I enjoy the memes.
I know you do.
I am the weird personality that actually enjoys them. You know that about me.
Just don't call him fat.
That's true. You're letting the cat out of the bag, Judah. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts as we try to offer you compelling commentary, even if it makes you uncomfortable on a hump day in downtown Charlottesville. John Blair's photo on screen. John Blair's watching the broadcast. I trust this man like I trust Judah Wickower to deliver the audio and visual for the I Love CVille network. That's a compliment there. John Blair says, here's the issue I have. Charlottesville Tomorrow touched on it. I'm sure that if you talk to Reed's or the Market Street Market, they tell you that one of the single biggest challenges for small grocery chains is warehousing and cold storage. The big chains have entire infrastructure networks for these issues. If City Council were to consider this appropriation, it would seem that they would require some serious plans and details about warehousing, transportation, and cold storage before appropriating the money. So far, all the commentary seems to me on pure square footage, space, labor, or customer base. That's fine, but you have to have a pipeline of transportation, cold storage, and warehousing. Otherwise, shares will be half full, and a lot of times because the enterprise has to basically do real-time spot market buying. That's from John Blair. Fantastic analysis. After speaking with the owner of the Market Street Market next door, Raphael, and his father who worked the store, the Market Street Market, that's half the size of this Cherry Avenue grocery store. The square footage is outlined in the Charlottesville Tomorrow article. That was very good journalism. I'd like to see more journalism like this from Charlottesville Tomorrow, more voluminous in nature, more bylines published, please, Charlottesville Tomorrow. Okay? I'm going to say this. I know the owner next door and his father, who's on the day-to-day grind operating this.
Yeah.
One of the huge challenges they have is what John's highlighted, the transportation, the cold storage, maintaining fresh produce. But one of their big, huge problems. You know what it is, Judah? I know you know what it is.
Stock?
Theft.
Theft. Oh.
Massive theft next year.
Next door?
Oh my God. You talk to them, you have a conversation. They have an overwhelming problem with theft at this grocery store next door. It is killing their margin theft. To the point they have 2 entrances and exits on the grocery store next door. They had to lock one completely. So now the inbound and outbound customer flow of the grocery store next door only happens next to Jasmine, the fabulous cashier. Mm-hmm. So someone can keep an eye on it. And still they have a tremendous theft issue.
Wow.
That's one of the major things. One another major things that was not covered in the Charlottesville Tomorrow story is the cooling, the refrigerant equipment. How often do you see broken refrigerators and equipment and repair people there trying to fix damaged or broken refrigerant equipment in the grocery store?
Yeah,
and that's half the size. That's half the size of what Cherry's going to be.
Yeah.
The city of Charlottesville is on the cusp of opening a Pandora's box that any other neighborhood association in Charlottesville City can utilize as leverage to have their own neighborhood grocery store. And here's the blueprint, here's the map. Find an enterprising developer, have a piece of land, say you want a neighborhood grocery store, and scream grocery or food desert. And if they give you beef and don't allocate the money from the budget to Belmont, North Downtown, Rugby, then all you got to say is, you're a hypocrite, you did this in December with CVille. Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? And see what their response is. Yep. 2 city councilors watching the broadcast right now. You know I'm right, city councilors. You know I'm right. Vanessa Parkhill's photo on screen. Then we'll go to the next topic. Those currently underserved neighborhoods had local markets. They have closed. I used to have a local grocery store in walking distance from my house, White's. Harris Teeter came to Hollymead. White's couldn't compete, so White's closed. Was White's the grocery store in Earlysville, the Earlysville market, Vanessa Parkhill? Is that what it was? Look at Judah doing the talk show right now while he's drinking top shelf scotch and eating a truffle chocolate. The life Judah Wickhauer lives over here as a content creator and influencer. Truffle chocolate and top shelf scotch. You're living the dream over there, Wickhauer. You think I'm off base? You think I'm off base with this?
That's all you see, then yes, that's true.
You think I'm off base with this commentary?
No, I started off saying that there's not really a good argument for funding it for that neighborhood specifically. I mean, what happens when Wegmans and Food Lion, what does Jerry call Food Lion?
You know what I call it.
You
see, the man's so hesitant to use a bad word on the talk show. I respect that about you.
I'm just more aware of the things that come out of my mouth before they come out of my mouth.
That's a zing against me right there. That's what that was. Philip Dow's watching the program, the mayor of Scottsville. He says, our city is not competent to manage this homeless shelter. I think the Holiday Drive shelter will be very costly and end up being a big failure. And Philip Dow, the mayor of Scottsville, says that Cherry Avenue site is a much better site for the homeless shelter than the Holiday Drive location. Deep Throat, watching the program. Let's get to his photo on screen. Man, a lot to cover on the broadcast. Deep Throat says, to John Blair's point, even at the fancy co-op in Bozeman, Montana, the stocking is way more inconsistent than the Safeway grocery store down the road. Deep Throat also says there's no question the homeless shelter has a better shot of getting to the finish line than the co-op. The city itself is behind the shelter. The co-op is sponsored by a group that is well short of what it needs to get started, even assuming the $1.7 million of city support. The homeless shelter will surely have clients. It's giving away shelter in a place with many homeless. The 7,000 square foot co-op grocery in a low-income area missing $4 million, that's a huge stretch. How will a tiny co-op compete on price with the big boys? The profit margin of an Albertson is under 2%. Foregoing a return to capital by being a customer-owned will not save it much if pre-tax margin is only 2%. Bing, bam, boom. There you go. From Deep Throat. Number 1 and number 2 in the family with Philip Dow and Vanessa Parkhill. Top 20 members, top 10 members also contributing to the broadcast. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Put them in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. I have 2 city councilors watching the program right now. We have a board of supervisors watching the program right now in Albemarle County, and 2 boards of supervisors, one in Fluvanna and Nelson County, watching the broadcast as we speak, including a state delegate. Next headline, Judah Wickhauer, what do we got? Show is yours.
I think next is all of the New Year's resolutions.
I want to start compiling a list, Judah. Mm-hmm. Okay, for New Year's resolutions for Albemarle County, Charlottesville City, and the University of Virginia. You can rotate those lower thirds on screen. This is going to be the start of the discussion that's going to take us throughout the rest of the year as we look to close 2025 with content on the I Love CVille network with 21 days remaining, and not all 21 of those days will be on air because some of those days are weekend days and holiday days and the time between Christmas and New Year's. Okay, we take breaks as well. Okay, so as we're compiling our lists, resolutions for, say, the University of Virginia, you can rotate the lower thirds on screen. We'll also give some love to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, 61 years in business. Goodness gracious, do I love John and Andrew Vermillion. John and Andrew Vermillion are honest men, Judah. Mm-hmm. Online where, Judah?
Online at cssvac.com.
CharlottesvilleSanitarySupply.com.
That too.
Online at CharlottesvilleSanitarySupply.com. Much more succinct URL. Located on East High Street. A new division about to emerge at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, a business that's been run by the Vermillions, who are 5 generations in Albemarle County and 3 generations at the family business. University of Virginia, it's so obvious. New Year's resolution, find some leadership.
I mean, you're saying Mahoney's not a good leader?
Paul, the interim president, very well could be the president, but he needs to have the interim tag stripped. Mm-hmm. Find a provost. Find a permanent CEO of UVA Health.
Yeah.
Find a permanent CEO of UVA Hospital. Find a permanent dean of the medical school. Establish who the Board of Visitors members are. Do we think Rachel Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson are going to get nuclear bombed? Are they heading to a future with a vice? Probably so. Is Spanberger going to behead them?
Future with a vice?
They're heading a vice. If it was guys, I would use something else. Okay? Do you think Spanberger and Sheridan are going to be on the board? Or do you think Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson are going to be on the board? Or do you think Spanberger is going to behead them?
I mean,
succinctly, on the board, yes or no? On the board, yes or no?
Pull my neck out of that noose/guillotine so fast. The Board of Visitors, whatever building they meet in, would be left spinning.
If your New Year's resolution, the University of Virginia, the one thing that you have to focus on is new, consistent leadership that is boring and in the background. Outside of that, the University of Virginia has a new moniker, New Ivy League. Fantastic. The University of Virginia is one of 7 schools, basketball and football, to be ranked in the top 25 nationally. The University of Virginia has one of the best athletic departments in the entire country. The University of Virginia has the most competitive application process and kids that wanting to go to school here than ever before. The University of Virginia is clicking on all cylinders except for one: leadership and clashing with Trump. That's an obvious resolution for the University of Virginia. City Council, Charlottesville. Put the lower third for City of Charlottesville on screen. Okay? Charlottesville lower third. If you want a New Year's resolution for Charlottesville City, it's got to be tied to taxes. Georgia Gilmer's photo on screen. She says city and county need to resolve not to raise property taxes on all of us because we're all pinching pennies. If you're Charlottesville City, you have to figure out a way to stop the spending. If you're Charlottesville City, you have to figure out a way to stop listening to a small group of people that are loud and organized and strategized, and instead listen to your quiet constituency, your quiet citizenry. Is that the word? Citizenry?
Citizenry.
Yeah. That does not go to council meetings because they're afraid of being stigmatized and labeled.
Plan and take your surpluses and invest them
Amen,
in
brother.
Planning. What?
Albemarle County, you want some advice, New Year's resolution? Cut the spending. Goodness gracious. Pump the brakes. You raised the real estate taxes months ago, the tax rate 4 cents. If you do any kind of tax increase in 2026 or 2027, you legitimately, leadership in Albemarle County, will be jettisoning the middle class. The lower middle class is already gone from Albemarle County. Now what you're jettisoning is the middle class and the upper middle class out of Albemarle. The conversation with the heavy hitter, $40 million in real estate this morning that he owns. It's like, have you gone through Waynesboro? He told me he legitimately had a shot 20 years ago to spend somewhere between $2 and $3 million. This was 20 years ago. $2 and $3 million 20 years ago was a lot of money. It's a lot of money now. Imagine what it was 20 years ago. He said he had a chance to do $2 to $3 million over a handful of deals to scoop up a boatload of real estate in Waynesboro. He said he didn't do the deal because he didn't believe in Waynesboro. At the time, Waynesboro was notorious for meth, notorious for folks that were unemployed, notorious for crime, for grittiness. Now, he says, he went by those same properties that he considered purchasing, and it's now folks driving Teslas and Priuses and Volvos. His words, not mine. He said he made a mistake, but hindsight's 20/20. I don't get the impression the man has many regrets in life, if any. Albemarle County, be careful what you're doing to your residents. 2 more headlines before we get out of here. I got a 145 across town. 303 Alderman Road in the Lewis Mountain neighborhood. Sean Tubbs is reporting in the CVille Weekly. We now know the buyer is a California buyer. An out-of-market buyer for 303 Alderman Road, which was the much talked about single-family rancher detached home in the Lewis Mountain neighborhood.
Will this be a developer, a flipper, or a soon-to-be resident?
Great question. It's a California buyer. And this California buyer is in the real estate business.
So
Keelan Property Group, Keelan Property Group, bought 303 Alderman Road from Evergreen, the developers. Keelan Property Group. What are they going to do with this? They're so nondescript on the internet that the only information really that you have Keelan Property Group is this transaction in Lewis Mountain.
wow. So created for this purpose?
Perhaps. We'll see what happens. But I got this tidbit from the CVille Weekly article. The Evergreen spokesman, the spokesman of Evergreen that spoke to Sean Tubbs in the article with the CVille Weekly, he says the new zoning ordinance, all it has done is made real estate more expensive and more difficult to develop. It's done the opposite of creating density and affordability.
Yeah.
The last topic on the show we will save for tomorrow because I'm up against the gun. Lunacy in Loudoun County.
Yeah.
Lunacy with federal funding at risk of being lost for a school system.
And I'm not always for all of the insanity and holding off, federal funds for different things. But this is, I need to take a deeper dive into this, but it may actually be called for.
Make sure it's on the docket and the rundown tomorrow. He's Judah Wickower. I'm Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show on a hump day. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody.